Good afternoon and welcome back to Horse Sense. I wasn't planning on doing another video, but there's just a lot of things that are happening that don't make sense. And some of it is just borderline BS. And I prefer to use the vernacular that my mother would use, and it's horse feathers, and it's nonsense. So let's back up and go into 2017 and 2018. I've already mentioned to you, during that flu season, we lost 80,000 people with the flu. As of today, we've lost 88,000 people with corona. A whole lot of those, I think, were actually flu. But the question I have is, why are we continuing to put this in the flu season when normal flu season is the middle of November till the first week of April? Here we are, 5-6 weeks past that, and we're still trying to crank the numbers up. That's what it's really looking like. And I'm not discounting, again, the people that died, but the numbers, I think, are being used to scare people. But let me tell you where we're at right now. It's summertime, and we're seeing the incidences go down, and we fully expected that. President Trump was spot on when he was talking about the warm, dry weather was going to help us, and that's absolutely the truth. This happens every year. A virus doesn't look at the calendar, and it doesn't say, oh my gosh, it's April 1st, I'm packing my bags and I'm gone for summer vacation. No, it's out here bouncing around all summer long, just like Corona is going to. And Corona is going to continue to be here in the fall, except it's going to come back with a vengeance because of the fact that we're going to have some of the mutated RNA viruses that come back that are going to be more angry. So where we're at today, at this moment, there's probably a minimum of 30 subserovars, and that's different types. 90% of those, 27 out of that 30, are going to be attenuated, and we've already talked about how they're weakened. But what we're going to see, and who we want to meet, is those guys. We want to run into them and get ill and get recovered and have antibodies. Now, there's 3 out of those 30 are going to be, when they replicate, they might drop a genome and then transcript a gene next to it that might be a gene that's going to make it more virulent, that causes a more virulent reaction, more of a cytokine storm, which is actually ends up killing people. And so what we do is, in the fact that when we get out and we meet the nice guys, we are going to have millions of people with exposure, and with our response, we're going to have antibodies. And if somebody happens to come into contact with 3 of the bad guys out of the 30, and these are just really estimates on there, but to think we have 1 or 2 COVID viruses, you're totally incorrect. Your thought's off. But we want to make certain that if somebody does have contact with the 3 bad coronaviruses, that they can come to us that have been exposed to the others, because antibodies to corona is antibodies to corona. And they can harvest our blood, they can separate our plasma and pull out the antibodies and give them to these people that are in contact. It's essentially the same thing that we would use on an antivenom on a snake bite dog. So there's a lot of unmasking that they're talking about in the news today, but I'm suggesting that we unmask from wearing all these ridiculous masks. We need to be passing this around and having the natural exposure. There's nothing better than natural exposure. When I was a child, and many of you people that are my age, approaching mid-60s and 70s, we had a neighbor down the street that got chicken pox, and all of a sudden we're having an ice cream party and we all had chicken pox the next week. So it was kind of a planned immunization through natural exposure. We did the same thing in our horses, in the fact that if we had a horse and it got strep, and horses get strep just like people. As a matter of fact, it's almost the same bacteria. If these horses got strangles, is what we call it, because their lymph nodes would get so large that they would actually choke them. But whenever we had a yearling get this, we would gather every yearling on the ranch and even the neighbors' horses and have them come eat out of the same trough and drink out of the same water trough, so that we could have a planned exposure and we could control it and get over it with one fell swoop. The reason we did this is because when we get strangles in adults, it does not stop in the lymph nodes in the throat. It has a propensity to go to the lymph nodes in the intestines. Well, when you have a lymph node that ruptures inside of your abdominal cavity, especially with a horse, you're going to bury it. So those were all planned exposures through natural exposure. And that's exactly what we need to be doing right now with this corona. And I'm hoping that we have the sense to do this. As far as vaccines that are coming, if they have a vaccine that gets here within 10 to 12 months, you don't want to take it. I suspect they already have a vaccine. I'm not an advocate of anybody in my family taking it. So that's all I've got to say for today. I pray that all goes well, and until next time, may God bless you.